grab your coat and get your hat. Leave your worry on the doorstep. Just direct your feet to the sunny side of the street. Can't you hear a pitter-pat? And that happy tune is your step. Life can be so sweet on the sunny, sunny, sunny side of the street. Hi, welcome to another Sunny Side of the Street. I'm your host, Todd Gross, a clinical psychologist and director of Adams Street Associates in Newton. Our show really loves to talk about the other side of people that is not portrayed very well in the news and in the media. The positive side, people who go around helping people, people who are in organizations that help other people, really bringing out the best of people, overcoming odds. And recent show, we've been talking about the theme that doing good starts really early. And we had a guest last time who was a teenager who was doing some wonderful things. And guess what? We have another one also wonderful, doing things. And somebody also from an organization that really is benefiting from that too. So I want to introduce the two of them and then we'll find out what they do. On my left is Joanna, Munson, Palomba, and very glad that you came.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll be excited to hear about your Cards for a Cause in a moment. And also from Second Step, we have Cindy Lockray. How you doing, Cindy?
Oh, great. Thanks for having me.
It's great to have you both. All right, well, maybe as a way just for the audience to know a little bit about you both, I'll start with you, Joanna, maybe to say a little bit about yourself and how you first got the idea for this program of Cards for a Cause.
So I have to tell this story a lot because I love it, but I was really young and I was in Harvard Square.
Yeah.
And Harvard Square was like a big deal at that point because I live in Watertown.
How old were you then?
I was like 7.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, like really
All right,
young.
Right.
Yeah. And I, for my birthday, I was really overwhelmed by the fact that people were living on the street because I'd never really seen homelessness in that way before, and it was like a big shock for me.
Yeah.
And I was crying, and then a few years later, I asked my mom if for my birthday, we could go in and we could give $5 to every person we saw. So
you were already sensitive and caring about what you saw, which is beautiful.
Yeah. It wasn't my money, to be fair. It was my parents. I don't know. I don't want to set myself up.
Nevertheless, all right, you don't have to be a saint, but you were still pretty good.
Yeah, yes. And then I started commuting through Harvard Square every day because I go to school in Jamaica Plain.
Yes.
And so that was the kind of last big time where I was really shocked.
Yes.
By how much there were actually people living on the street and people who really had very little. And so that was when I decided I really wanted to do something about homelessness. And I get the question a lot about why didn't you just fundraise for another organization? Mm-hmm. Which in a way it's kind of is like that, but it's also, I noticed that people weren't giving on the street, people that I was friends with and people, family members and et cetera, and I was trying to figure out why that wasn't happening.
Good question.
Was the gap. And so that's when gift cards came up because there was something that needed to be but there was some blockage between people who were giving and people who were receiving.
Perhaps even people's suspicions about what will my money go for and all that.
Exactly. Yeah. That was the big one, yeah.
Okay, all right. And we're going to return to you in a minute, but also, and Cindy, you work for a wonderful organization, Newton, called Second Step. And I wonder if you could just say a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with that, too.
Sure.
And then we'll see how you connect.
Okay, when I first came to Newton, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any friends. Or I had a little family that was here. Yeah. My husband grew up here. And my kids were in middle school. And they didn't really need me at middle school anymore. So I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for a job because I was a real estate agent but didn't know the area. So I thought, okay, well, I'll just do some volunteer work. So a neighbor told me about Second Step. I started out as a volunteer, just working at the front desk and babysitting the kids at night. And it was something very dear to my heart of just helping young kids and helping women on domestic violence. And then I worked my way into a job. So I've been there almost 7 years. I love working with the women. I work with donations, and that's how I met Joanna, was because I'm always looking in the community of how are ways that we can get donations for our families.
Right.
And actually Joanna called and said, I have this idea, and I'm getting these cards, and I want to give it to an organization where I could really help women. And I said, well, you reached the right person.
Oh,
and she
yes.
did. And so we developed this bond over the phone, and then we met, and we've been together almost 2 years. Yeah, it's been amazing.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
and to second what you said, Cindy, I want to say to our audience that those of you who watch the show, we've had Second Step on the show a while back. An amazing organization doing terrific things for women who are victims of domestic violence. So very good cause. Now, back to our friend over here. Question for you that I want to ask is a little bit of what the guiding beliefs are about working with donors and homeless people that help you design the program, because I think the way you did this is something I would like the audience to hear. It's very interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of eccentric, I say, because the idea of giving gift cards kind of came up out of the blue. But there's like two big reasons that like we decided to do that, and I was really inspired by that idea. And the first one was donors. So people, again, weren't giving on the street because of something. There was something there. And I talked to people, and I did a little bit of research, and I thought about it, and I realized that there was this suspicion about where their money was going. And since they were giving it, you know, they really felt like they needed to know where it was going.
Sure.
And it ended up becoming a very like political, polarized thing where some people would be like, no, you just give because, you know, you trust people, and other people felt like, no, I want to know where it was going, and it honestly seemed rather irrelevant to me. Like, it was more about just give in some form, give how you can, and how you feel comfortable, because what was happening was then no one was giving. You know, there was so much discussion that no one was giving, and I think people really wanted to help, and so the gift cards came out of the idea that we could bridge that gap, bridge that trust gap, and people could feel comfortable giving, know where their money was going without sacrificing freedom of choice. And that's the second kind of guiding principle is that, and maybe the one that's dearest to my heart, which is that people deserve dignity. So in any form, and in any form, like no matter what you've been through, what you've done, what you've suffered, like when we take away people's dignity, we often take away a lot more in their future. So in a lot of ways, giving drives, I love drives, I love the idea. We just did a menstrual drive in my school, but there's only a certain amount someone else can choose for you. And so having the freedom to choose for yourself is something I think we don't emphasize enough and think about enough. So when I get to provide gift cards, those women and people can go and decide what they need. And so there's so many different areas and things that we have that we don't even think about needing.
Right.
It's not just like food and a blanket. There's like so many items that like you need in your daily life that are really necessities that it never crosses anyone's mind. So those are kind of the two reasons,
And I just want to second again your concept about dignity, how important that is in respect of another human being. They are not just a homeless person, they're a person.
Right.
And that's what I think you're getting at. And there's also concept of necessity. I want to give you a comment on that too, in some of the stuff you said.
Yeah, so we try to focus a lot on providing necessities and restoring dignity. So thinking about how we can both give material items, because there is a real need for that, right? We don't want to discount the fact that it's not just emotional, it's physical.
Yes.
People need food, and they need clothing, and they need, you know, the basic necessities, which, you know, we don't even think about them not having.
Right.
But then we also want to think about how we can emotionally help support and get people back on their feet.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think of it very much as like a crossroads. So a lot of groups are doing one and not the other, or the other one and not.
Yeah, so both of them are
right. So I try
important.
to think about like how we can merge them.
Yes. I was thinking too, I want to hear your comment on it, about when you're talking about some of the reasons why people don't give. Another reason that strikes me is that sometimes people do not want to feel the pain that they will feel if they look at the person either. And they also feel helpless about the immensity of the problem. So one of the beauties of what you're doing is by giving them a vehicle, like the card to give or something like that, they feel like this, not only is the money going to go to who it's supposed to, but maybe I am doing something that really is going to have a concrete effect on their lives.
Right. It's so, I mean, I feel this all the time. I'll be overwhelmed by how big of an issue, how many people are suffering.
You bet.
I'll be just completely, overwhelmed. But one of the things I always say is, like, you just have to start. You just have to give a little bit. You don't have to, completely give up your house and never buy Starbucks again.
You don't have to give up your mortgage. And
right, because no one's going to do that. And also that's, we don't want to just switch positions. We don't want someone else to be giving so much that they're no longer taking care of themselves. If you take the first step.
When Joanna talks about those, the personal integrity of having the gift cards, is they can go in, they have it, but it's not food stamps, so they're not embarrassed to use it.
Exactly. So everybody has cards, gift cards. It's common now. That's a good point.
That
it adds to their sense of, I'm doing like everybody else.
Right. I can go in and get I have a Starbucks gift card. I can go in and get a cup of coffee just like everyone else.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be
empowering.
One of the things I wanted to ask you too is, in order to deliver these gift cards as you're doing, you have to raise funds. So I wonder if you could tell me some of the different kinds of things you've done for fundraising. I always love to hear that too.
Yeah, actually, fundraising is one of my favorite parts, like my personal favorite parts.
Yeah.
Although a harder part than I feel like
it's challenging.
It's very challenging. But so my favorite fundraiser we have, well, there's been a few, but one of my favorite things we ever did was we did a breakfast for dinner fundraiser. So I go to school in Jamaica Plain, and there's
what's your school, by the way?
It's called Meridian Academy.
Oh, I know that school very well. I didn't realize you went there. Okay.
So we did. There's a parish hall right next to
all kinds of projects.
Yeah, all kinds of projects. So we did there's a parish hall right next to the school, and I love, when I was growing up, I ate breakfast for dinner when my mom was away and my dad was home. And it was so funny, but that idea became a fundraiser. So we had like kids, which was so fun because I got to like work with my friends.
Yeah.
And so we got like kids to like make pancakes, and
they played music.
Yeah, they played music.
Came and performed.
Really?
Yeah,
yeah,
it was really nice.
And it was so much fun, and everyone just came together and just had some breakfast for dinner. And so I kind of think of my fundraising strategy as just like any idea you have is probably going to work. Like if you try really hard.
That's a great attitude too.
Yeah, so we just
and you're
did
willing to work hard,
Right, and if you want to work hard at it, then it works. So we just did a fundraiser, which was the biggest fundraiser we've done, and we did it at the Mount Auburn Health Club.
Yes.
And they have a beautiful like upper floor that like looks out over the city and the river.
And we belong there.
Yeah,
I love it.
It's so
very
beautiful.
nice.
It was phenomenal. They were so generous to us. They
it's a
donated
good place.
The room.
It is.
They helped. You could buy alcohol that evening, but all of the expenses that went to that came right back to Joanna.
Yeah. So there was a cash bar, and
Nice.
they donated the proceeds, which was like amazing.
They were amazing. So
and the
generous.
Food, and it was
The
beautiful.
support, I'm glad you said that. It's important that those agencies get recognized for how they support this too.
They did. Yeah, they were wonderful.
They're very like, they've designed an amazing business.
Yeah.
And yet they're like still give back to the community so much. And it's really grown from like just a tennis club to like a pretty full-fledged like health center.
Yeah. Absolutely,
and so,
yes.
But they still are so like giving back. They're so focused on giving back and how they can help those who are less
That's
fortunate.
great. I'm glad that it worked for them and it worked for you.
Yeah.
Any other fundraising things we should hear?
Yeah, a lot of what we've worked to do is monthly donors.
Oh,
so
okay.
this is the hardest part of like modern day fundraising, I feel like, is we give every month. So we give away $600 in gift cards every month.
Okay.
That goes really fast.
I bet.
Yeah. So as much as like one-time events are amazing, it's much more of a marathon than a sprint.
Yeah.
So
yeah, right.
although I feel like there's sprinting sections in the marathon,
Yes.
it's definitely like we need people who are willing to give on a monthly basis because we're also giving on a monthly basis.
Yes.
So one of the big pushes we did the last fundraiser is getting people to sign up for monthly donors because big organizations, every monthly donor is a success.
Yes.
Because it's so hard to get people to commit to that.
Right. Right.
So we had a big push for that, which was really really
Did
helpful.
you get a good response?
Yeah, people were actually much more receptive. I definitely was like, I'm going to ask people for this, and I don't think anyone's going to do it. Like, I went in being like, I don't know if I would do this. Like, I don't, it's so hard to have someone take money from your bank account every month.
It's a commitment.
It's such a commitment.
I think what's so wonderful too about Joanna when she's up there asking for donations, she's this young girl who's so powerful in this room of all these adults, and they're looking at her and just going, wow, I can't believe that she started this organization at 14.
Yes.
And she's well beyond her years. She's just so empowering. We even had one of the guest speakers that came was a young woman who lived in one of our houses.
Really?
And was one of the young women who at the very beginning when Joanna was giving out cards was able to have the cards. And she talked about how it changed her life and how empowering it was to have those cards and to be able to even let her kids have a CVS card to go to the store and get snacks after school like the other kids. So I think that was powerful too.
That was so powerful. That was.
If you don't mind my asking, where do you think that strength comes from?
Well, my parents.
Yeah, your parents are pretty amazing.
My parents are amazing.
We do know them. They're
most
wonderful,
amazing
both of them.
people. I know. My dad's a town councilor in Watertown, and so but more like an activist. He's spent his whole life fighting for people who have less than him, in just like such a he has a work ethic that's like beyond anyone I've known and beyond me by a lot. And my mom,
your mom's amazing too.
And my mom is a psychotherapist, but also just such an amazing person.
They both are leaders
they're
too.
both such leaders and activists, and
so you grew up around that.
Yeah, I think it's more like I said to my friend, I was like, I didn't suffer from this issue. I've never suffered from homelessness. I've lived in a pretty stable household.
Yes.
And because people ask me is this from personal experience? And I never want to give off the impression that I have had personal experience. I can only have empathy and compassion.
Absolutely.
I cannot even imagine what that is like. And so I think it really comes from my parents being so compassionate to other people. Yeah. They're amazing.
Well, that's a terrific models right there. I couldn't agree more. Also, I thought another very interesting part in terms of your organizational skills here is how you sort of thought about how shall I select what cards to get? Could you talk a little bit about things like location, price, individual needs, things like that went into your thinking?
Yeah, so this was actually a personal thing to figure out for me because we give to a shelter in Harvard Square.
Yes.
I'm a men's shelter.
Okay.
And then we give to Second Step.
Right.
On a monthly basis. So both are on a monthly basis. So you do have to decide who you're giving to.
Right.
And of course, I don't live in those shelters. I mean, I'm in the area, but I'm not in a very different way, in a very different capacity. And so for me to just go and decide, well, this is what I think people need is not
good point.
It's not at all about what Cards for a Cause is about
yes.
or what I believe in. And so, I think you can never underestimate just asking people what they need. So we went to the shelters and we said, okay, so what's going to be the most helpful?
Yep.
Right.
The food is always the most helpful.
Yeah, the food is
food
the biggest one.
and CVS, because even if they go to the food shelter or the food pantries, they don't always have everything they want.
Yes.
They don't have fresh fruits and vegetables and meats some of the times. Many of them do now, but just being able to take the $20 and to go to Market Basket or to go to Stop and Shop, then they get to select what they want.
So food is a big one. Also in Harvard Square specifically, the men need places it's really cold. If you haven't noticed already,
we got blown into the studio today.
Yeah,
exactly.
Absolutely.
It's freezing in the winter here.
Yes, it is.
And in the summer it's really hot. So especially in the winter, we do sometimes Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
And I think people get confused about why we do that. And one of the reasons we do that is because the men have asked for places they can go and sit when it's really cold out.
Makes sense.
So getting a cup of hot coffee and sitting in a place for 2 hours to warm up, that's really underestimated in the world, right? Is why does someone need a fancy coffee? And it's not really about that. That's not what's happening.
Gotcha.
It's about having a place you can go get a warm cup of coffee and warm up because it's 20 degrees.
And you want it nearby enough so that they're not taking a long walk to get to the cold place.
So we, about a year in, I think, I spent a lot of time thinking about how, reflection and how do you know that what you're doing is helpful? And so I was raising all this money, but if I didn't know that what I was doing was helpful, then I couldn't effectively ask people for money.
Right.
And so we asked for feedback. And so we had both people staying in the shelters submit feedback about like where they felt like the money could be best used, what places they want to. And so we basically use that.
I see.
Still, and then we talk
what they were
every
using
month.
the cards for.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we talk every month. I talk to Cindy and I talk to Jim at the other shelter about what specifically this month. So like Thanksgiving is different than Easter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Or back to school.
Yeah,
back to
thank you
school,
for
right.
that too.
Yeah.
And Cindy, I wanted to ask you a little bit, being one of the major two right now of the agencies, what it's like for you
Well, the big thing is monthly. Is like
Yes.
she's saying, getting those monthly support for donations is huge, because I know that I'm getting $300 worth of gift cards each month. We have a very small budget. It's $250 a month for food. We have 8 families in both houses.
Yes.
So we go through that so fast. So having that additional cards
Makes
that we can give
sense.
out to the families is so beneficial, so
terrific.
huge for us.
What's your sense of how the women feel when they get these cards?
I do want to say empowered. They
Yes.
feel they don't feel embarrassed about getting a gift card.
Good.
Because I can go to CVS, I can go buy nail polish, and you're not going to judge me that I want to use the $20
their
to buy nail.
choice.
It's their choice. So it is so empowering for them to have that card and do whatever they want to do with it.
Yeah, and it's a trust exercise, right? It's saying that like we believe in you. We believe in your judgment. We believe that you are a functional person who like deserves to make their own decisions.
And I think I would want to add to that point that if the women in the program have been treated disrespectfully, like their decisions, their point of view, their voice doesn't matter, you're giving them a voice in this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So when we buy food for the house, we might buy what we think they need. And this way they can go by what they really want.
Yeah, it's always about
It keeps making more and more sense the more you guys talk about this.
Yeah, it's funny because people are always like, I don't get it. The first like 4 times I've explained it, people are like, but like we just like give them food. And I'm like, yes, and I really want you to keep doing that. Like I'm a firm believer in like you should be donating to your local drives and your food pantry, and like you should be doing that. And also understanding that like we need to like empower people as well as provide for them.
Right.
You know, even think about the little kids going to school and having snacks in their lunchbox. If at the food pantry they might not have the snacks that all the other kids have, so those kids want to feel like the same kids.
They get
want
those
a fruit
too.
roll up just like everybody else has.
Yes.
So they can
A
look
sense
the
of normalcy
same.
too.
Exactly.
So it's this balance between necessities and
dignity.
Yeah, dignity.
What would you say are the biggest challenges, do you think, of this program?
Oh my
For
gosh.
people watching that may be interested in, doing their own version, as you've done, of something like this.
So because I'm 16,
Right.
a big challenge for me has been like age.
Yes.
I feel like I spend a lot of time establishing myself as someone who can be trusted.
Yes.
And I make tons of mistakes also. Like I have a lot going on, and I can totally make a lot of mistakes. And so even if I'm making a regular amount of mistakes, I often feel like they're taken more personally because I'm so young, or taken.
Or they could be attributed to that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean.
Instead of the fact that just you were doing a lot of things that are
Right.
important.
So I often feel like I spend a lot of time being like, I promise, like I do the taxes, I promise. Like I have people who are checking me. I'm not taking your money. Like I got asked recently, like, you're not just spending this on shoes.
Wow.
And I said, one, I don't think I could spend this much money on shoes if I tried, but also, of course not, right? Like, so I spend a lot of time making sure that people trust me.
And you also created a board. Now she has a she has a board.
So you know how to
directors.
set up a support system and consult with others, as well as maybe an attitude about mistakes, about what you do about mistakes, is what I hear.
Right. So like the board was amazing and a really big step for me because I'm controlling. So I want to know where everything is, and I want to know what's happening.
Right.
And it's one of the reasons everything has worked so well.
Yes.
But it's also why, like, after about a certain amount of time with a certain amount of money coming in, I said, like, I should not be the only one looking out for this. I need someone checking me, like a checks and balance system, right? Like, I need someone else to go to when I make a mistake, and I need someone to give advice.
You're not afraid of feedback. You
and
want
I want
it.
feedback. So like when
That's
I
another
mess
good
up,
quality.
when I mess up, like I want someone to be like, you messed up.
Yes.
And so the board has been amazing. Cindy's on the board, and it's been
cool.
like amazing. And we meet way more. Like a lot of nonprofits, they meet like every year.
This is much more than that.
To validate, like for the IRS, because you have to.
Well, we want to help her. She's in high school trying to
Right.
finish high school, and she's doing all this. And she does like to do everything herself. We try to take stuff away from her. Let us help you with this. Let us help you with
If
that.
there are people watching, by the way, is there anything you want them to hear about how they could help either you or even advice for them if they're interested in this kind of a...
Yeah, so it's a pretty like local, everything's very local. And so that's been my like amazing thing is that like all this money has been raised grassroots. And so always like use your community. So like I've used my community like endlessly. Don't be afraid to ask people for money. Honestly, like I get rejected all the time. Like people are like, no. I'm like, what?
And you don't take it personally.
Yeah, like you just have to like keep at that. And then if people want to get involved with Cards for a Cause, we have a beautiful website.
What's the site for people? We'll put on the
It's
screen.
www.cardsforacause.org.
Okay.
Follow her on Facebook.
Yeah, we're on Facebook.
Good.
Some board member helps me a lot with that.
Yeah.
And then, I have my email. It's cardsforacausewatertown@gmail.com. And so, like, everyone who's reached out and been like, I don't really know how I could help, but, like, maybe I could help. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Has ended up, like, been doing an amazing thing. And everyone has a skill they don't even know they had.
Wow. Well, the couple things about what you're doing and also what you're doing, Cindy, that I hear, that both of you are incredibly positive, and I admire that a lot. And both of you, it must mean a lot to you, the kind of impact that you can have about something that really matters to your central values. I just wanted to, in the last couple minutes we've got to say a little bit about how you relate to that.
It just makes you feel good. It makes you feel to give back. And if you have more than somebody else, why not give back?
Right.
Yeah, it's amazing how much like I feel better about my day and my life when I do this. And it's so rewarding. Like the amount I have in comparison to other people it also it makes me feel really grateful for what I do have, which I think is like a wonderfully built-in like check for myself, because I get to go home to a house, and that is the best thing that I have, and appreciating that.
It's hard to be entitled when you start to really appreciate.
Right, yeah, it makes me like, and I'll just be like, wow, I get to help people in so many ways by doing comparatively to what they have so little. Like I do so little comparatively to what I could be doing, and yet it helps in so many ways.
She's so humble.
Well, I think this is incredibly inspiring for people who are watching, and I think it really says a lot can be done, and you can make a difference. And we've featured young people in the last couple shows, and also support from a wonderful agency too. So I want to thank you both for telling this story. Hope it inspires some people.
Thank you.
You're certainly amazing models, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for having us.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And thank you everybody for watching, and I hope you'll tune in again for another Sunny Side of the Street. Take care, everybody.
Imagine a time when no one person has brain disease. Imagine a time when no one person has Parkinson's disease. Or no one person has MS. No one person is debilitated by a stroke. And no family suffers the tragedy of Alzheimer's. Some of the best minds in America are doing more than imagining. The American Brain Foundation is seeking to find cures, where life without brain disease isn't just something we can imagine, it's something we can know. Help us get there.